The twin suns of Verelion 4 shimmered across the crystal plains, scattering light through the palace's transparent spires. The great hall of refraction buzzed with the sound of voices from 100 species, ambassadors, nobles, and warriors, all gathered for the royal choosing. Once every cycle, Princess Calith of the Lumaran Empire entertained suitors from across the galaxy, and once every cycle, she sent them all home humiliated. She was beautiful, even by Lumaran standards, a being of light and form, her skin refracting hues of violet and silver. But beauty was only part of her legend. Her sharp wit and cruel laughter had reduced entire delegations to shame. The galaxy called her the Shard Queen, for her words could cut through pride sharper than glass. This year, whispers spread that her father, Emperor Valar, had insisted she choose a partner, not out of sentiment but strategy. The Empire's borders trembled under the threat of the Crag Dominion, and alliances were essential. But Calith, proud and defiant, vowed she would never kneel to politics, or to anyone. The suitors came in gleaming ships, each bearing gifts, plasma diamonds, sun spheres, and living nebulae. Each received the same fate: public mockery, private rejection, and a laugh that echoed across the hall, until the final contender arrived. He stepped from a ship that looked ancient and small, marked with the blue and white insignia of a forgotten world, Earth. Part 1, The Human. His name was Commander Elias Rourke, representing no empire, no council, no wealth. His uniform was plain, his ship functional. When he entered the great hall, the crowd murmured in disbelief. A human? Someone scoffed. Their world isn't even part of the interstellar accord. Calith smirked from her throne of refracted light. A human dares enter the choosing, she said, her voice carrying through the crystalline air. Do you intend to charm me with oxygen and primitive metals, Commander? Elias bowed, calm and unflinching. No, Your Highness, he said. I came to offer you something far rarer. Oh! Calith leaned forward, amused. And what could a primitive offer that I do not already possess? He met her luminous gaze. Honesty. The court burst into laughter. Calith herself smiled, sharp and radiant. Honesty. Oh, quaint. Do you plan to conquer me with sincerity, little human? Not at all, Elias said. I'm here because your father invited me. I thought I'd at least make an effort to understand why. That earned him silence, the first flicker of it in her presence. No one had ever spoken so directly to her before. Part 2, The Challenge. Calith's amusement returned swiftly. Very well, Commander. If you wish to understand me, then survive my trials. 3 of them. No one has ever completed all 3. Elias nodded. Name them. The first, she said, rising gracefully from her throne, is of mind. Answer a question that no being has answered to my satisfaction. The second is of will, where you must endure what no creature can. The third, she paused, her eyes gleaming like molten silver, is of truth, and none have faced it without breaking. Elias gestured. Then let's start. The crowd whispered. Even the emperor watched with intrigue. Calith had broken warriors, scholars, and lords alike. A lone human would be no different, or so they believed. Trial 1, The Mind. They stood before the mirror of infinity, a vast crystal orb reflecting countless realities. Calith gestured to it. Tell me, human, what do you see? Elias gazed into the orb. Within it shimmered endless versions of himself. Older, younger, triumphant, defeated. I see choices, he said. Every decision I've made and every one I didn't. And what does that tell you about your existence? She asked. That I'm finite, he said. But my choices aren't. They echo. Even when I'm gone, the things I did ripple outward. Caliph tilted her head, her expression unreadable. You see mortality as meaning. I see it as clarity, he replied. You live for millennia. I'll be dust in less than a century. So I have to mean something while I can. For a heartbeat, Caliph didn't speak. The room was utterly still. Pass, she said finally, turning away too quickly. The courtiers murmured. It was the first time she had declared anyone successful in the trial of mind. Trial 2, the will. In the hall of silence, Caliph stood before a sphere of pulsating light. This, she said, is the core of memory. It will flood your mind with every sorrow, fear, and regret you've buried. Most collapse within seconds. Elias nodded. Let's get it over with. The light enveloped him, and he fell to his knees. Visions assaulted him. His mother's fading voice on a cracked comlink, the screams of soldiers he couldn't save, the stars burning over a ruined world. Pain tore through him like fire. But through the agony he heard her voice, distant but clear, Caliph whispering, "Why do you resist?" He gasped, "Because pain means I'm alive." When the light faded, he was trembling but standing. Calith's eyes widened, not in mockery this time, but wonder. "You passed," she said softly. The court was silent again. Twice he had succeeded where others had failed. Caliph felt something strange stir in her. Not annoyance, not contempt, but curiosity. This mortal, this fragile being, stood unbroken before her. Trial 3, the truth. The final trial, she said, leading him into the palace observatory, its glass walls revealing the endless sprawl of the galaxy, is to speak a truth I fear most. Elias looked at her, seeing not the cruel princess of reputation but someone deeply lonely. You fear being seen, he said quietly. Not as a ruler, not as light, but as someone who doesn't know how to be loved. Calith's luminous skin dimmed, her colors faltering. You presume much, human. I observe, he said. You mock suitors not because you hate them, but because if you let one close, you might lose control. And control is all you've ever had. Her jaw tightened. Enough. Elias took a step closer. You asked for truth. That's it. The silence that followed was the longest of all. For the first time, Caliph had no clever words. No laughter. No shield. Part 3. The aftermath that night, the palace was quiet. Caliph stood by the crystal terrace, watching the twin suns sink into the horizon. Her thoughts swirled, irritation, admiration, and something else entirely. Elias found her there, alone. You should be celebrating, she said without turning. You humiliated the Shard Queen. I didn't come to humiliate you, he said. I came to understand you. There's a difference. She looked at him then really looked. Why? She whispered. Why risk so much? Why come here at all? He smiled faintly. Because your father said his daughter would never listen to anyone who couldn't stand up to her. He thought maybe a human wouldn't know when to quit. Caliph laughed softly. He sent you to teach me humility. No, Elias said. He sent me because he hoped someone could show you that strength isn't the same as solitude. The words cut deeper than she expected. She stepped closer, her glow faint and warm. And what do you gain from this revelation, Commander? Perspective, he said simply. On what we could be. Humans, Lumerians, all of us. We spend so much time proving who's superior that we forget what connects us. Caliph tilted her head, her crystalline hair shimmering faintly. You speak like a philosopher. I'm a soldier, he replied. Philosophy is what keeps me sane. A silence stretched between them, not awkward but charged with something new. Finally Xylos said, "If you were offered the chance to stay here among the stars, would you?" Elias met her gaze. "Depends. Would you want me to?" Her laughter, genuine this time, soft and melodic, filled the air. "Careful, human. You might make me forget why I mock your kind." Part 4. The choice days passed. The other suitors departed, humiliated or ignored. Only Elias remained, though not by decree, by her invitation. They walked the crystal gardens, debated philosophy beneath the twin suns, and sparred in the Hall of Blades. Xylos found herself waiting for his next words, the next unpredictable thing he'd say. His mortality fascinated her. His courage, his restraint, his refusal to worship her. For the first time in her long life, the Shard Queen laughed without cruelty. At the final council session, Emperor Valor addressed the court. "Has my daughter chosen?" he asked, his deep voice filling the hall. Xylos rose slowly. "Yes," she said, her tone calm, almost reverent. "I have chosen to wait." Gasps rippled through the audience. "Wait," the emperor repeated. Xylos's gaze drifted to Elias. "I will not take a consort for alliance or empire. I will take one for meaning. And I've only begun to understand what that means." Elias bowed slightly. "Then my mission is complete." She frowned. "You're leaving." "I was sent here to reach you, not to claim you," he said. "But if ever you find what you're seeking, you'll know where to find me." Xylos's lips parted, but no words came. For the first time in centuries, the princess who mocked every suitor stood silent. Epilogue: years later, travelers whispered of a glowing figure seen walking beside a human on a quiet blue planet, a being of light and a man of dust. They said she laughed softly now, without cruelty, and he gazed at her as though she were the first sunrise. Perhaps it was only a story. Or perhaps the Shard Queen had finally learned that even stars fall silent when they find something brighter.